So you want to learn about superhuman flexibility? Well, in today's show, we are going to go deep into a really amazing concept and training method called end range strength, which has completely transformed our flexibility and those of thousands of our members around the world. All that and more coming up right after this. Hey everyone, in case we haven't met, my name is Rad Burmeister. I'm the co-founder of Unity Gym and the co-creator of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we take driven people and turn them into superhumans. And the way we get such amazing results with our members is that we've created a program that has a perfect balance between strength and flexibility. If you want to know how we do that, download one of the free blueprints. We've got the flexibility blueprint, the strength blueprint, and the nutrition blueprint. Totally free. There's a link in the description of this video for all of them. Now, as always, I'm joined by Phil, aka Dr. Phil. How are you, brother?
Very well. Yep. Keen to talk about this. Flexibility is not my strong suit. It's not something that I have spent much time working on. So
you and everyone else.
Yeah, I feel like there's plenty to be learned from you, but yeah, definitely keen to.
You and everyone else. This is something that I people used to call me flexible, and I'm doing this in quotation marks, when I was younger, because I did martial arts and I could kick head height. Yeah. But I was not flexible, man. It was very specific. I could rotate my body, and I remember as I started to, as I got better at Kung Fu, and my teacher started to really point out the finer points of kicking and the way that I needed to position my hips, I couldn't do it. I was really cheating the movement and sort of cocking my hips in an mechanically disadvantageous position. And yeah, when I said to myself, all right, I'm going to get flexible, I realized I was hard at it, and now I'm a flexible person. So
that is an understatement.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is also cool is that not only are you flexible, but you're pretty damn strong as well. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've got a good balance between strength and flexibility, so it's not just one or the other, which is really what the whole UMS is about. That's why we call it the Unified Movement System, because it unifies strength and flexibility. So before we get into this, if any of you that are watching have got any questions about flexibility and about flexibility training and how to balance strength and flexibility, please put them in the comments section.
Or anything else for which we might be able to get to later.
Yeah,
if you have any questions, especially if you've just got started in the program, you want to know more.
Seriously, I can see we've got a lot of viewers today, which is awesome. Even in the very least, just put your name and where you're watching from so that we can give you a quick shout out. So Quock, I can see Quock's commented, thanks for tuning in, brother. Always great to have you on the show. Any of you that are watching for the first time, you guys are in a private group created by us so that we can help you. So please don't feel like you need to be anonymous in this group. We really want to get to know who's watching and where you are with your training, and so we can help you. We are, what you guys are getting, in this group, you're not even paying anything. You've just you may have bought one of our programs, or you may not have, but we want to help you, so put your questions up there. The topic of today, without answering anyone's questions, is end range strength, and the reason why we're talking about that is because I've just created phase 2 of the end range strength program, which is part of the mobility masterclass. So the mobility masterclass is something that you can either buy as a one-off payment and you've got it forever, or it comes included in the subscription of the UMS online coaching program. So I've just created phase 2 for the end range strength program and uploaded it. It's ready to go. It's there for you guys to sink your teeth into. And I wanted to talk about it because it's such a new concept to me, and it's something that I've really only been learning about properly for the last year. And it has revolutionized the way that I train and produced the most exceptional results in my flexibility and in our members at Unity Gym and those around the world that are practicing it. It's phenomenal what it's done. And it's really turned what I thought I knew about flexibility on its head, because what I thought I knew about flexibility was that you stretch muscles, and you have to stretch the muscles to make them more elastic, and it's all about spending a lot of time in these stretched out positions. And I tried that for decades, and I was banging my head against the wall because I really wasn't producing the results that I would expect for the time invested. Not only that, it was a very frustrating up and down journey where I would sometimes feel like I would go really far backwards, and now I understand I was stretching to that point of pain, and I was stifling my nervous system's ability to adapt and delay the muscle spindles from tightening up the muscles. So end range strength has turned all of that on its head, because I'm actually sometimes in some of my programming, I'm doing less stretching of the muscle and more strengthening of the antagonist, the muscle, the opposing muscle group that pulls you into the position. It's amazing.
I think you've keyed onto a really important part there, which is that nervous system aspect. aspect of training that a lot of
Yep.
people don't really realize. When they think about stretching, they think, oh, it's kind of like a piece of blue tack. You just kind of keep stretching it, and gradually it'll get, longer and longer. Blue tack might be a bit of an Australian term there, but the thing you use to stick things to walls. But yeah, so much better understanding now about how flexibility works comes down to the fact that it is so much about your nervous system and basically your nervous system trusting you in those ranges that are, beyond what you're used to. So if you spend most of your day sort of sitting in a chair with your knees bent and then your hamstrings kind of get pretty used to being in that shortened position. So when you go out to the gym, you try and do a front split, it's going to be very different to what you spent most of your time doing. Yeah. And therefore your body's going to be like, whoa, change. We don't like change. Yeah. By building the strength aspect to it, so that end range strength is all about kind of encouraging your nervous system to trust the fact that you are strong in that position and your body will allow it.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to continue on with what you just said at the end there. It's actually a really simple concept, and now that I understand it just makes so much sense, which is it doesn't matter how much you stretch the muscles that would allow you to pull your shoulder into this position. If you don't strengthen the shoulder in that position, and especially the muscles that create the pull to get you into that position, then the nervous system doesn't trust that as a safe position. And why would it? Because the only way that you can ever get there is with an external force pulling you into that position. So that's not a safe position.
Yeah, and the shoulders are a bit of a different case as well, because with the muscles that support the shoulder and keep the ball in the middle of the socket, they also get pretty, they really need strength and timing and a gradual increase in range and strength if you haven't been doing it for a while. So not only is it the muscles not allowing you to get there, but then also with the shoulder, it's a whole nother sort of need for strength in that position.
For stability, so that you're not going to dislocate the shoulder or God knows what, or get that gliding that you're always talking about in the glenohumeral joint. So this concept, once somebody explained this concept to me, I started going, okay, that makes sense. But then, how do you train it, the way that you actually do it? And the methods that I've been obsessively researching on myself and through learnings via the internet and via other coaches that have been on this journey for longer than me, have taught me a lot and have created amazing results. And things that I wanted to do when I was 20 years old that despite my best efforts just made zero progress in for a decade, I've made phenomenal progress in a year. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty amazing thing. And in the most basic understanding of it, end range strength it's this concept of taking one of your joints to its full range of motion. So an example, just because I'm sitting down, this is the best example. So shoulder flexion is something that a lot of people struggle with. And if you know at the most basic level of how to increase shoulder flexion, we talk about stretching the muscles that prevent you getting there. So stretching the internal rotators, stretching the shoulder extensors, and creating more thoracic extension. But end range strength would be about not only doing that, but also taking the shoulder to full flexion as far as you can go, and then using things like isometric contractions and ballistic contractions with very light weight to try and go even further. So to try to, when the muscles that pull your shoulder into flexion are in their shortened position, to try to create strength there, which is just so hard to do.
Yeah, I think a really key thing to understand there is when we're saying end of range, it's end of your available range. So, you might be looking at someone like Rad who has really great shoulder mobility. He's able to get up there and kind of go beyond that sort of 180 degrees straight up in the air. He can kind of go past that. But for someone who's, not got the shoulder flexibility and mobility that the Rad has, it might be here. And I've talked before about training in your available range as a great way to kind of get over injury and build up strength. So it's all about strengthening that end of your available range. So not just don't force things into somewhere where you can't usually get to and then add load. It's about getting to that limit and then trying to build that limit by being strong there.
And that's actually what one of the best things about end range strength is, because there is really no way to force yourself into it, because it's not an external load that's pushing you in there. You're lifting yourself into the position. So it's so humbling, because you can get this external load and fold yourself forward, but then when you try and lift yourself into that position, you just go nowhere. So it actually is a lot safer than
might be a good time to clarify things
to answer some of these questions. So we've got a couple of good questions here, which are awesome. Blakely, great to see you on the show, brother. Give me a shout out. Let me know that you're still watching. I can see that you've tuned in. So Tanvir Muntasim is saying, watching for the first time in Johannesburg at the moment. Would be good to know how end range strength can convert passive flexibility to active flexibility. Great question. And the second part to that question is also, is end range strength the same as loaded stretching? So first thing I'll say, Tanvir, is welcome to the show, brother, and thanks for tuning in all the way from Joburg. So the first thing I would to know how end range strength can. Okay, so how can end range strength convert passive flexibility to active flexibility? It's funny because, in all honesty, all of these words, passive and active, and end range strength and mobility versus flexibility, if you ask different coaches, you get a different answer of what the definition is. So we've got our definition, and I've actually worked with a lot of great people, done a lot of research, and come to my own conclusion of what the definitions of these things are. So when you talk active flexibility, what most people mean by that is it's the range of motion that you can actively pull your body into, versus passive flexibility, which is a range of motion that you can be pulled into. So an example of passive flexibility would be is if I grab my leg and pull it up to here, it's passive flexibility that gets me there. And then if it is active flexibility, it would be my ability to go like that and lift my own leg up there. So that's the first little bit of clarification that we need to say. So how can end range strength get you there? Well, if you train passive flexibility, all you're doing when you do this, my muscles are completely relaxed, everything's relaxed. I grab my leg with my hand and I yank here until the muscles in the hamstring and the hip extensors, and the back of the knee, the calves and everything get to their full range of motion. Not based on their elasticity, based on where my nervous system is going to allow them to go before it stops. And then I hold that, and over time I gradually increase that flexibility because the nervous system lets me go there. End range strength, on the other hand, see, these muscles are doing nothing. My quads and my hip flexors, and even my abs a little bit, are doing nothing to get me into this position. End range strength now does the same thing, but by going like this. So I'm training those muscles to create that active flexibility. So how does it help? Infinitely. Like, I couldn't even put a number on how much that helps you. It's like saying, how does it help me to get better at running if I start jogging every day versus just sitting on my seat? It's going to help you because you're jogging, you know?
Yeah,
so I hope that makes sense.
Well, he's basically asking like how end range strength can convert passive to active. So by training in this kind of end range strength way, it's inherently an active.
That's right. It creates
training
it creates an active range of motion. It creates a usable range of motion.
Yeah. So just to be clear, end range strength it's not a passive flexibility movement. So that's how. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It isn't passive flexibility.
And is it the same as loaded stretching?
No, it's not. Loaded stretching is when you do. So what in the example that I just gave, that was a passive stretch where I'm holding my foot. So a loaded stretch would be if I stretch the same muscle groups, but I have an external load, like some dumbbells in my hand, and I lean forward. So I've got weight pushing me down into the stretch. So instead of the muscle being just completely relaxed, there's an external load that's pulling me further into it.
Jefferson curl would be an example
Jefferson curl would be an example.
Hamstrings. Yeah.
Yeah, Jefferson curl.
And if you're doing a Jefferson curl, when you get down to the bottom, are you trying to completely relax into that position or apply a bit of resistance?
Good question. Both. So there's different ways to do the Jefferson curl. The ways that I like, that I've worked with, are either to completely relax at the bottom, or at the bottom to tense the quads to try to straighten the knees, and at the same time suck your abs in so that you're trying to create compression. So not only is the weight pulling you into the movement, but you're actively trying to pull yourself even further into the movement. So it is actually an active stretch, but it's a loaded stretch as well because that weight is there. It's kind of like having you're trying to pull yourself into it, but someone else is pushing you at the same time, rather than just being relaxed and having someone push you into the stretch.
Yeah. Now, just on the Jefferson curl as well, like for someone who has not done any sort of, intense stretching before and they wanted to get into it, would you recommend doing like loaded straight off the bat, or would you kind of
definitely definitely, but it's just like this drum that you're always beating, it's about load management, and everybody's individual, right? So that's a loaded question, because there's some people out there that it might not be suitable for. And like we always get these questions, oh, this wouldn't be suitable for somebody that's got this condition. Well, of course, you can, anything that we do and that we show you, there's going to be somebody that's not going to be right for. So, but that's like saying, oh, we shouldn't be doing this because...
No. What I'm trying to get at is, I guess, what would be, the feedback that you'd get. Like you talked before about with your passive stretching in the past, you'd stretch to the point of pain and you'd kind of get quite sore, and then and in turn it felt like that didn't actually give you good results. So what would be the kind of feedback you...
Honestly, if I would say, if somebody's never done loaded or end range strength training before, and they said, what kind of weights should I start on? I would say something that causes you zero pain and it makes you feel like it was a breeze. And then every single workout, you can increase the volume or the intensity. So increasing the volume would mean that you stay at the same amount of weight, the same load, but you either do more reps or more time or more sets. And then increasing the intensity would mean that you increase the load, you get more weight in your hands. And you just do that incrementally. Like the biggest thing that I could say to anybody about this whole flexibility journey is that time is your friend and the race is your enemy. If you if you say, I need to get flexible quickly, man, you're going to be, you're in for a rude awakening. And not only are you in for a rude awakening, but potentially a lot of pain and a lot of injuries. And if you just take this as like, okay, like when I decided to become flexible, and I seriously, I made the decision. I decided, I can't exactly remember when it was. It feels like it was only about 4 years ago, and I turned 42 this year, but I remember it might have been when I was 37. But because I made a decision to learn and get good at something that I knew nothing about, what I've achieved in 5 years, I honestly believe I could achieve in 1 to 1.5 years now. Honestly, I honestly believe I could do that if I knew what I know now. But I made a decision, and when I made that decision, it was just this, it wasn't, I need to do the splits in 6 months. It was just, I'm not flexible. I've been training for so long. I've wanted to be flexible for so long. I'm going to prioritize this, and I'm going to get better at it. And 5 years later, I have a level of flexibility that a lot of people, wish for.
As demonstrated by the Van Damage.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, go onto the Unity Instagram. It's very impressive.
Yeah. So, look, if you've just tuned in, we're talking about end range strength here, which is an amazing concept that I've been learning about for just over a year now, which is about taking your body to its end range of motion, your end range, and then strengthening it, creating strength there, which has had a massive, massive impact on my flexibility and our members and our tribe. And if you want to know how we do it, you can get the Mobility Masterclass, which I've just created, End Range Strength Phase 2. Let's have a look at some of these.
So we've got Phil Burns here saying, my problem has generally not been absolute flexibility, but having strength at the end range. This is definitely something I need to work on.
Yeah, dude. I've Phil, please, because I'm trying to associate names with people, with faces. Phil, this is Dr. Phil, right? Who's part of our
real Dr. Phil.
of our gym now. You come and train with us, right? Can you confirm with me that that's who you are?
That's him.
And if it is, that Phil's saying it is, you are a seriously impressively flexible dude, man. Watching you do the splits and some of the things that you can do is really amazing. So for you, end range strength is going to be a game changer. And because you come and train with me at the gym, I can teach you all about it. It's just part of the program that we do here. So you're going to learn some really, really cool stuff over the next 12 months. So Tanvir has said, yeah, we've answered that one. Blakely's waving, so he's saying that he is on the show. Thank you.
I can't see Blakely on mine. Blakely is blocked. I cannot see.
Oh, Blakely. Have you blocked Phil? Maybe he doesn't like you. Maybe he's blocked you.
Could be. Fair enough.
So Quack is saying, on shoulder flexion, I like the moils you guys showed with the dowel rod and weight plate. Is there another exercise you recommend to help with shoulder flexion? Also, I can now lie down on the foam roller with weights in my hands and my forearms can touch to the ground. So thank you for the chest opener. You're welcome, man. Man, there's so many exercises for shoulder flexion. There's some of them are loaded stretches where you're holding a load and you're pulling the weight down so that you're in a position where the load just pulls you down, and you go through breathing exercises and contract, relax movements, and you do reps against it. Then there's movements like the Moyles one where you lay down on the ground and you're pulling against there. There's ones that are similar to that, but where you're standing up and you use bands. There's so many, and it's all part of the program, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, end range flexion, if you think about how leverage works, if you're doing it in that sort of standing position, then it ends up being that, if you're the weight that if you're lifting like a dead weight, then that's going to be least aggressive at the top. Yep. So if you go into a horizontal position, you're going to be in a range and you're going to have the most leverage. So one thing you can try is doing something over the edge of a bench where you kind of elevate your body horizontal and then you're lifting up a weight into that end range. That's a nice way of making things harder. And if that's too much to start off with, you can always use an incline and get progressively further. So the leverage goes from being here to completely horizontal.
Quack, I know you've never done this, and I watch you online. You are a weapon, mate. I've looked at your Instagram page. It's impressive the stuff that you can do, and I'm humbled that somebody with your ability is asking me for advice. It's a humbling experience. But honestly, bro, sign up to the 1 month free trial of the UMS online coaching. And if all you do is go through the mobility masterclass, rip everything out of there that you want, learn the programs, understand how to do it, and cancel your subscription, I don't care, man. But the info is all there. Go and have a look at it. Try the program out for yourself. You can print the programs out. You can watch the videos, and you'll know what to do. And you will go from here to here in a big way, man. You really will. You'll learn a lot.
Relevant for anyone out there.
Yeah, that's right.
Do the thing.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
No barriers.
Look, we there's so many different ways that we can price and bundle what we do, and we made a decision that we were just going to add so much value and so much content into what we do for such a small price so that it would almost be stupid to not continue with what we do, and that's why we've done it that way, and that's why we give away a 1 month free, because we really are all just about just adding value and helping as many people as we can. And that's why we're doing these videos to this group that anybody can join for free as well, because we really are about helping people, and
it's fun.
There's so much that we can do.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, it is. So what have we got? Another Dr.
More
Phil.
Dr. Phil's.
Right. Yeah.
Except he's a real Dr. Phil, unlike me, just a doctor of physiotherapy.
Different. So that's right. Dr. Phil is a laser
physics PhD.
PhD holder, so an impressive doctor right there. Tanvir is saying thanks, makes sense. You're welcome, brother. We're going to have to finish in the next 5 minutes. I have to be very strict with when I finish today. So if any of you guys have got any last questions, please put them through. But Tanvir, I'm great. I'm really glad that we could help you, man. And make sure you tune into these shows. We do our best to do them daily. We don't always get them done, but it's our intention to do it.
Usually.
And guess what? For those of you that want end range strength, if you haven't joined the program yet and you want to see some more freebies, I just filmed 3 middle splits workouts, all using end range strength for our YouTube channel. We've just had the first one edited. I haven't reviewed it yet, but I'm going to review it today. And if it's good to go, I'm going to upload it this afternoon. So we're still doing content to our new YouTube channel. In fact, we're doing better content for the YouTube channel because these videos that you're watching are now post-produced, and we're doing our weekly workout videos. So check those out.
I'm not sure that we've managed to, since changing to Facebook, we haven't managed to get one up yet because we have a video editor that we're sorting out how it all works.
That'll be happening in the next 24, it'll definitely be happening in the within the next couple of days before the end of this week. He's now got after this video he'll have 5 videos to edit. So it's just a matter of watching them quickly just to make sure that he's done the right thing, and then we upload them.
But the podcast is daily, so
yes, get on the podcast.
Just one last little bit on, I guess, strength and how that can influence flexibility. There was some really interesting, the Nordic hamstring curl just became the everyone's favorite exercise for a while there. It became really popular in injury prevention in the English Premier League, in soccer around the world, because it had really good results for hamstring injuries, which was the biggest problem for football around the world. And so there's been so much research into Nordic hamstring curls, and one of the interesting things is that that's like a loaded eccentric movement, and people got more range from doing these loaded eccentrics. So I think it's just a good little nugget of science to throw in there to show that, they're not actually stretching their muscles there, but they are, by making it stronger and by becoming
strengthening through the range.
Strengthening through range, that they're actually getting longer muscles, which or more available range, which I think is just a good little way of kind of realizing that you don't have to just go into yoga land and stretch yourself till you
Well, in all honesty, look, I don't, whatever floats your boat, and if it gets you moving, do it. But we've had a lot of members come here who are ex-yogis who have trained for quite a while, years, training daily, and they've come here and they are really unflexible, and within a year of training with us, they're really flexible. So I'm just going to answer this one last question from Blakely before I have to go. So Blakely is saying, been finding it easier to get into middle splits from horse squat rather than standing straight. Any difference in these entries, or does it not make a difference? Man, it's whatever works for you. I think when you say horse squat, you're meaning horse stance. It's really whatever works for you, because it's just how the nervous system works. And, you know, when you go down into a horse stance, you're using your muscles very differently than when you're straight. So when you're standing up straight, your muscles are being used very differently than when you're in a horse stance. So if you're talking about a horse stance, which I think you are when you say horse squat, it's when your feet are roughly double shoulder width apart, so the adductors are under load, the hamstrings are under load, the quads are under load, and it's that when your muscles are under load going out into a stretch, it's often a lot easier for people to get into, because it sends a different message to the central nervous system. It's not as scary for the nervous system, and unless you've been doing ballet or gymnastics since you were 4 or 5 years old, the nervous system isn't used to going that far apart, so it's not as comfortable in a relaxed position to just go, hey, yeah, let's throw the legs out here like you see dancers do.
Yeah. So just before we finish up, quickly summarize in 20 seconds what we said.
20 seconds. So end range strength is the missing link in superhuman flexibility, without a doubt. Stretching is not enough. You need to not only teach the nervous system to allow the muscles to stretch out to take you to that range of motion, but you also need to strengthen the opposing muscle groups in the end of your range. And that is what end range strength is all about. If you want to know more on YouTube, check out the 3 middle splits workouts that are going to be getting. We've got an intermediate/advanced, and an advanced workout that's going to be coming up. Check them out. They're going to be really, really good. And if you want to know more and you really want to get some programs to help you through this, get into our mobility masterclass. You can either purchase it as a one-time payment, have it forever for $150 or you can join our UMS Movement Mastermind for a 1-month free trial, and you get everything included for free.
UMS online coaching?
UMS online coaching. After that, it's only $49 a month.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much for today. Thanks for watching Tanvir. Really cool to have some new people on board, and good on you for asking some questions. Remember, we do have the podcast every day. If you can share that with people, that makes a huge difference to us, and hopefully a huge difference to them as they learn the...
And any of our YouTube viewers, if you like this video and you want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified when we go live, and keep an eye out for our weekly workout videos.
And jump on the UMS Movement Mastermind to catch it live. All right.
Have a good day, everyone. See you soon.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.